And so the drama began. The rumours of a devaluation meant that to hold on to sterling was a gamble. Banks, pension funds, international companies told their dealers to sell the pound, and then the speculators joined the fray. George Soros gambled £5 billion, selling while sterling was still high, but intending to buy back cheaply if the pound devalued and make a fortune.
The Bundesbank was basically egging on the speculators to speculate against the weaker currencies. And we took our cue, actually, from the Bundesbank.
Get some dollar mark calls going out. I need some cable calls, so I've got a stop loss.
The Bank of England hoped it could make George Soros lose his gamble. It planned to sustain the pound's value by buying pounds at the official high ERM rate. Billions of pounds of public money were about to be thrown into the defence of the pound.
We decided that as the London market came in, we would intervene on a scale which would make it quite clear that we were intervening, and that's what we did.
It was incredible. I mean, obviously you can hear what's going on in the market, and you can hear wave after wave of selling hitting the market, being met with resistance and support by the Bank of England. They were buying such a phenomenal amount of pounds.
At the Treasury, they waited for news.
We were really just waiting minute by minute updates from the market, and that was when we learnt that the billion that we had put aside to defend the pound up to the weekend on Tuesday night had been, had gone in a few minutes.
That was really when the question was posed, is this it? Is the game up?
The bank was extremely grave. They said, we will have to raise interest rates. You can't save the situation by intervention alone.
Anyone want to buy a house?
Watch out, excuse me.
Intended to show strength, the markets perceived the rate rise as weakness and reacted accordingly.
We had a fairly strong sense that we were on to the kill. It indicated to us that we are in at the end game, that there was no, this was an act of desperation. So instead of restraining us, it was really an invitation to double up, to try to sell as much more as possible.
The Bank of England had some £19 billion in foreign currency reserves, but it was now spending £2 billion an hour as more and more people sold the pound.
93.98. Who for? Bacon. 91.8. Is that bacon? 91. Is that bacon? Oh, God. I've got bacon here. 80.87. Who for? Bacon. 80.87's out to bacon.
All of a sudden, instead of being asked to quote a price in £5 million or to sell £5 million for clients, typically they would come up and do multiples of that. Suddenly they would be coming with an interest in £20 million, £50 million, £100 million. Sometimes even bigger than that.
MRR's 15%. 15%? What? 50%?
15%. What?
15% MRR.
The interest rate market, which was sitting 30 yards away, exploded in noise. We thought, we can't believe that the Bank of England's raised interest rates again. That was a sign of weakness, not of strength.
The more those rates go up, the more it's going to be worse for the pound, isn't it? Mortgage rates, no way. 10 done. Dollar mark.
There was a very, very small rally in sterling. It went up maybe a third of 1%, a very, very small rally for such a big rise in the interest rates, and immediately settled back on the floor. And the Bank of England was still buying pounds.
That afternoon, it became a veritable avalanche of selling.
I've done the dollar side, I just work the model there now, right?
The government made no announcement, but the Bank of England now withdrew from battle.
At 4 o'clock, suddenly the Bank of England wasn't supporting pounds. Instead of a load of noise coming out of the voice brokers and everything and around the dealing room, everyone just sat in stunned silence for about 2 seconds or 3 seconds, and all of a sudden it erupted and sterling just free fell. That sense of awe that the markets could take on a central bank and actually win, I couldn't believe it.
So how many pounds have you sold?
About $500 million.
$500 million. So has it been good business?
Yeah, it's been really good.
What does that mean to the bank here?
We've had an excellent day. We've made a lot of money, so it's good.
What are we talking about? A couple £100,000?
Probably about 10 million.
30 off for the pound.
The markets finally closed, and dealers still didn't know that the momentous decision to leave the ERM had been taken. For 3.5 hours there was silence from the government. Treasury officials advised the Chancellor he shouldn't speak until a meeting was convened in Brussels with Britain's partners in the ERM. During Black Wednesday, the Bank of England lost between £3 to £4 billion of public money, trying to keep the pound inside the ERM.
The day had been an utter fiasco as interest rates were going up and down like a whore's drawers.
Black Wednesday happened because the currency dealers could see the conflict between the British economy, which needed one thing, and the German economy, which needed another. And then they reacted. As Britain considers whether to join a single European currency, the one question is, what's to stop it happening again? The speculators are waiting. They remember the fortunes they made on Black Wednesday.
It was $1 billion, in excess of $1 billion of profits, because we had a position approaching, I think, $10 billion, and the fall was more than